Hello friends. I hope you all are doing well. Today we will talk about risk control hierarchy and its implementation. Let's start. Risk refers to the likelihood of a negative event occurring and the potential impact it may have. Risk control is the process of identifying, assessing, and prioritizing risks in order to mitigate or eliminate them. For example, the risk of a natural disaster such as a hurricane may be high in a coastal area, and the potential impact, like damage to property and loss of life, would also be significant. Risk assessment is the process of identifying, analyzing, and evaluating potential risks to an organization or individual. This process helps to identify potential threats and vulnerabilities, as well as the likelihood and impact of those risks. There are several types of risk, including financial risk, operational risk, reputational risk, strategic risk, compliance risk, and legal risk. The risk control hierarchy is a framework for identifying and implementing risk control measures. It includes the following steps. The risk control hierarchy is a widely accepted method for managing risks in the workplace. It involves the following steps. Elimination: remove the hazard or risk altogether. This is the most effective method of controlling risk. For example, if a company is using a dangerous chemical in their manufacturing process, they may eliminate the risk by switching to a safer alternative. Substitution: replace the hazard or risk with a less hazardous alternative. For example, a construction company may use a crane with a safety cage instead of scaffolding to reduce the risk of falls. Engineering controls: use equipment or design changes to control the hazard or risk. For example, installing ventilation systems to control dust in a factory or installing guardrails on a construction site. Administrative controls: implement procedures and policies to control the hazard or risk. For example, providing safety training for employees, implementing safety inspections, and having emergency response plans in place. Personal protective equipment: use equipment or clothing to protect employees from the hazard or risk. For example, wearing a hard hat, safety goggles, and earplugs on a construction site. To implement the risk control hierarchy, start by identifying the hazards and risks in your workplace. Then, evaluate the risks and implement controls in the order listed above, starting with elimination and working down the list. Regularly review and update your controls to ensure they remain effective. Additionally, it is important to ensure that all employees are properly trained on the risks and controls in place, and to involve them in the process of identifying and evaluating risks. It's important to note that the above steps are not mutually exclusive, and the goal is to implement multiple layers of control to effectively manage risk. Additionally, the most effective approach is not always the one that is the most expensive, but the one that is the most effective and efficient for the specific context.